My name is Sidra Bell, and I'm a choreographer, educator, and dancer based out of New York City. I am currently in residence at Nevada Ballet Theater, and I'm making a new work. So my time here is in residence in a creative process with 24 dancers and working with the music of Emmanuel Wilkins. My parents are musicians and composers and vocal arrangers, and they met through music at the New York College of Music. My mom sort of noticed that I was really movement inclined, and I was always making little dances at home, and I was very kind of a physical child, very quiet. And so when I was 7.5 years old, she enrolled me at the Dance Theater of Harlem. I just fell in love with the language of dance. I think being a very interior child, there's something about the investment in the imagination and the use of language in the work and the shaping of the body. I was also a visual artist growing up, and so I became fascinated with shapes really early on. So not only performing, but I really started to study the form. So I think for a process of a new work, my body has so much history, and I kind of rely on that. There's a kind of embedded patterning that's always there. Early on, I just had these patterns emerging, and now that I've been, crafting works for so many years, those patterns just keep growing out. Yet, I like to sort of start with an empty canvas. I find that the productivity is amplified by meeting the dancers that first day. But the first rehearsal really feels like seed, just a seed being planted, a movement, an arm pathway, a pathway of the spine. I stand in front of them and just sort of start to move. And there's the process of mirroring, which is really foundational to improvisation. There's a language that they own, they're starting to own. So you have all these phrases that are happening in time together. You see repeating gestures or pathways that start to come together and start to create, patterns in space. So it just keeps layering and layering each day that we're together. I think with my work, there are often characters that get developed. They feel like characters that have a lot of flexibility. You may see a kind of archetype of an idea, but that can be developed or shifted through the lens of whoever's watching. So I've had audience members say, this reminds me of this, or this image sort of feels like that, and I welcome that. But it's not static. And thematically, I think right now, we have the music playing constantly in the studio. And I've been talking to the dancers a lot about the liveness of the choreography in relationship to the jazz, because jazz has such a process to it. There's such a core to it, but there's so much divergence. So we're not counting at all, but we're responding and reacting. And in this last rehearsal, I was able to kind of choreograph 30 counts, to a certain section. I was like, oh, that feels really right. And so we kept repeating that. And it just felt good to find a place where the complexity of the dance matched the complexity of the music. And you're actually witnessing in real time the body, its effortfulness, its tenderness, its vulnerability. What can be more beautiful than that? And I think in a live performance event, you get to really witness that.